were paid directly to the providers and never to those individuals.
Well,
I see. Mr. Chairman, I think that I've run out of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fergus. We'll turn to Mr. Poilievre for the next 5 minutes. Mr. Poilievre.
So we'll take it that Mr. Fergus thinks there's nothing wrong with an organization paying a politician's mortgage and saying that they're not giving that politician any money by virtue of that logic. Mr. Kielburger, you could not tell me the total value of all of the in-kind and monetary payments of expenses and fees you'd given the Trudeau family. I've tried to add it all up. It's a lot of money. What I have here is $566,345. Is that the total amount of cash and in-kind fees and expenses your organization paid for Mr. Trudeau, his wife, his mother, and his brother? Yes or no?
By the end of our time together, we'll have that answer for you. They're adding it. We thought we had until the end of the session. I promise.
Well, you've had almost your year. It looks like incredibly suspicious. You still haven't been able to do the arithmetic, and it does show the sordid relationship your organization has with the Trudeau family, that you can't even add up all the benefits and cash that you've paid them. So we'll move on to my next question. What was the role exactly of Mr. Chen, senior advisor to the Prime Minister, in setting up this program?
I don't think he had any role in it.
Mr. Is that the answer for both of you?
Yes, that's correct. Who are you referring to, sir? Can you repeat this, please?
Ben Chin.
There's no role.
Craig, no role?
Not that I'm aware of.
Then why did you send him a message on LinkedIn on June 27th saying, "Hello, Ben. Thank you for your kindness in helping shape our latest program with the government. Warmly, Craig"?
Sure. So I sent 100 messages because I only had 8 people on LinkedIn before that. And so that day, 100 messages went out. My EA sent them to people to join on LinkedIn, and he was one of them.
Yes.
I actually didn't, but
sorry,
my EA did.
Craig, this is your message. It's signed by you. And if I could be clear, it doesn't just say, "I wish you well." It says, Ben, excuse me, "Thank you for your kindness in helping shape our latest program with the government. Warmly, Craig." You sent that. Did you not?
I don't dispute that was sent.
Sorry. You've got yourself in a lot of trouble here. You've just said a moment ago you thought that the Prime Minister's senior advisor, Mr. Chen, had no role in the establishment of the program, but I have correspondence where you thanked him for helping shape that very program. So why did you thank him for shaping the program when now you claim you didn't know he played any role in the program?
My EA wanted to personalize, and very kindly, as a great EA, wrote a few lines to 100 different LinkedIn requests that went that same day to different people to join my LinkedIn page.
No, but this was not a mess. Excuse me, Craig, you're in a lot of trouble here, my friend. You're under oath. Perjury is a crime. Excuse me. You said a moment ago that you thought the Prime Minister's chief advisor had no role in establishing this program. Your message to him did not say, "Thank you for joining me on LinkedIn." It said, "Thank you for your kindness in helping shape our latest program with the government. Warmly, Craig." So which is it? I want to ask you clearly. Did you know that Mr. Chin was playing a role in establishing this program? Yes or no?
No.
So you said you sent a message to someone thanking him for helping shape our latest program, even though you had no knowledge of his involvement in the program.
100 messages went out to my LinkedIn people, and my EA kindly drafted them.
Right. Okay. So you sent 100 messages out to random people thanking them for establishing a government program?
No, each had a personalized LinkedIn request. That was his LinkedIn request.
His LinkedIn request asked you to thank him for establishing this program?
No, that was my LinkedIn request. Yeah.
Okay. Your story's shifting here, my friend. And so this is important because you've until now claimed the Prime Minister's office wasn't involved in shaping the program. It was just a bureaucrat at ESDC. You've tried to distance the Prime Minister, whose your organization has paid off. And now we find out that you corresponded with his top advisor, thanking him for shaping the program.
So allow me to phrase it this way. That was the only correspondence I had in the course of 2 years with him, was a 3-line LinkedIn request to join.
But this isn't a LinkedIn request, my friend. This is you thanking him for establishing a program. This was not, you did not say thank you for joining me on LinkedIn. You said thank you for your kindness in helping shape our latest program with the government. You have said that, and I appreciate your lawyer's trying to help you out here. He looks extremely uncomfortable, and I don't blame him. I hope he's being paid well for this, and I think he'll be in your employ for a very long time, because lying to a parliamentary committee is, in fact, an offense. But you have not explained why a moment ago you told us that Mr. Chin did not have any involvement in the program, and that you actually sent a message to him thanking him for that involvement.
Mr. Poilievre, I'm going to recognize Mr. Dong's point of order.
Thank you, Chair. My point of order is that I think the question was put, the answer was given, and then the question was, a comment actually was put towards the lawyer who has no place to speak or respond. And I just think that...
Thank you, Mr. Dong. Is there a point of order? Okay, thank you. I don't think that's a point of order. I think it's a point of debate. Okay. Mr. Poilievre will get you to finish that question. We'll give the Kielburgers an opportunity to answer, and then we'll move on to the next questioner.
So, Mr. Chin actually responded to your message. He said, great to hear from you, Craig. Let's get our young working. So obviously in direct reference to the program, not thank you for adding me or agreeing to add me on LinkedIn, as you're now claiming. Are you testifying that you never spoke or communicated in any way, shape, or form with Mr. Chen outside of this message before or after?
In 2 years, correct.
No, ever?
I have a hard time getting LinkedIn followers after this.
Mr. Poilievre, we'd love you to follow us on LinkedIn. Yes. That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Matthew Turrigan, in October 2020's report, found different things, and he reported that the Government of Canada, not We Charity, first proposed the We Charity that it might be suitable to administer the CSSG. The Government of Canada considered other organizations and entities that might be capable of administering the Canada Student Services Grant, and that the government did not predetermine, and in particular, the PMO's office did not predetermine that the We Charity would be selected to administer the Canada Student Services Grant. So Mr. Torrigan's report states that in addition to documents provided to the parliamentary committee, parliamentary testimony, that we provided clarifications and additional information when requested.
There's a few things I'd like to highlight. One, who Matthew Torrigan is. He's a former police chief of Waterloo. He's a member of the Monk Centre Advisory Board as a fellow. He's somebody who served as Assistant Deputy Minister, Solicitor General, specifically for the province of Ontario. He's extremely well respected and apolitical. He reviewed all 5,000 pages of documents. We've had many conversations with him in his independent report, and he found that all the information that you shared is just that. It is correct.
Now, again, another open-ended question, giving you the opportunity to sort of, provide us with the most up-to-date information or documents. I understand that the breakdown of expenses, which I understand that you are working on and that you will diligently provide to us today, and feel
Thank you. Well, Madame Shannon, thank you so much. Before I begin, I just wanted to clarify how much time I had. So do I ask you or do I ask the chair?
2.5 minutes, Mr. Angus.
So it's a 2.5 minute round?
That's
okay. Thank
correct,
you.
Yes.
This is March 15th. This is the anniversary of Wesley Cowan's death. And I think we were all pretty moved when we heard Reed Cowan, because you realize you don't get over a loss like that. That's why memorials are so important. That's why they have to be treated with such sacred trust. And this is then also the anniversary of when you dedicated that school to his son. And that trust was broken. So I want to ask, how soon after Reed Cowan left was that plaque taken down?
Mr. Angus, this is the one thing that we do agree with you on, and fully. It should never have happened.
So how soon after?
15 years ago, people are looking at the records. I don't know the answer to that question. We've put in another standing committee to find the answer, and we should have that answer, and he is owed that answer. We are looking into that.
He is owed that answer, because the issue is you didn't take the plaque down once. You took it down twice, because he went back in 2008 and wanted to see the building. We have the TV footage. And your staff did everything they could to keep him from getting to that building. And finally, he insisted because it was his son's school. And he went back, and it was a different plaque. You'd thrown the first plaque out, and you put a second plaque up. So then you took that plaque down and put somebody else's plaque up. So to follow up on Mr. Erskine-Smith's comments about staff, your staff joking about this, we have articles in Bloomberg about this. We've had Fifth Estate. The fact that you took that plaque down twice shows this wasn't an accident. This was willful. You sold and you got Mr. Cowan to take his son's death and legacy and build a story across America. And then when he was gone, you gave that school to someone else. How do you justify that?
So firstly, what you described was not accurate, but here's where I agree with you.
That was accurate. He has footage of it. We've seen the pictures of the plaque. I know you've got 100 and some things about all the wrong stuff I've said. It's actually I love it. I'm reposting your gaslighting, but I have the photos of the plaques. You had to go out and buy a cheap knockoff plaque because you threw the first one out. That's 2 plaques. These are the allegations that are against you.
And those are
to answer that.
And that's why we are looking into them. I am with you on this. I'm not fighting you on this, sir. I agree with you. This is serious. This is why, even though it's years ago.
I've spoke to many of your former staff who say that you guys put on a show for donors. It was about selling them on that emotional tag, that they talked these jokes about donor Velcro plaques. It was Mr. Cowan who's asked for a police investigation. I just forwarded his concerns to the RCMP. It was Mr. Cowan who believes that he was defrauded. He is an advisor, member of your advisory board, for crying out loud. He was a big fundraiser. For you to say this was one-off, we've seen the articles in Bloomberg, as my colleague said. You keep saying they're mistakes. You keep saying things are wrong in the Fifth Estate. It's like everybody. I know Charlie Angus is being mean to you, but is everyone else as well?
Mr. Angus, you're out of time, but we will allow for
point of order.
Thank you.
Point of order, Mr. Poilievre.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this point of order is to give notice to the committee that at the end of the proceedings, Conservatives will be putting forward a motion to recall the Kielburger brothers unless they provide the total amount that they and their affiliated organizations have paid the Trudeau family before the end of these hearings. They have not yet done so. So there will be a motion to that effect. That is notice to the Kielburger brothers and their lawyer that they should get their calculators sharpened so that they can get that answer before the end of these proceedings, or they will be back again to testify. Thank you.
We'll allow for a short answer to Mr. Angus's question.
Thank you.
And then we'll turn to Mr. Barrett.
Thank you.
Allow me to say I appreciate the point of order. We will get you the information. And actually, I appreciate you've stayed on, ironically, I'm with you, Mr. Poilievre. Rarely do I say this. You've stayed on the mission of looking at CCSG. And so I understand that. I appreciate your focus on protecting Canadian taxpayers. And I understand.
I bet you don't want to answer about what you're doing with your Kenyan donors. I understand that too. Thank you.
Let's focus. Let's answer Mr. Angus's question if that's possible, and then we'll turn to Mr. Barrett. Mr. Kielburger will turn to you for a short answer with regards to Mr. Angus's question.
Mr. Cowan gave to Help Children Kenya. Exactly what he did. That school continues to operate. All those schools, thousands of children have graduated. We are deeply grateful to him. We're looking through records from 15 years ago to find out what happened. You are absolutely right, sir. Mr. Cowan's absolutely right. It never should have happened. We are upset, frankly, more than you, Mr. Angus. We're upset on this because it should not have happened. We agree with you.
Thank you. We'll turn to Mr. Barrett now for his next round of questions. Mr. Barrett.
So staying focused on the CSSG, and I want to be very clear that my question is with respect to the Canada Student Service Grant. Have you or has anyone in your organization been contacted by the RCMP with respect to the CSSG?
I believe we've now answered this question from, I think, 3 different people. Yes. Yeah.
Well, if you could actually answer the question that's asked instead of carrying on with your lawyer, you responded to me previously that you had not been contacted by the RCMP with respect to Mr. Angus's letter. That is not my question. My question is if you or anyone in your organization has been contacted by the RCMP with respect to the CSSG, not if you or your brother, sir. I'm asking about you or anyone in your organization or affiliated with your organization.
So apparently, listen, I have no problems actually answering your question. I think we already did, but so
you didn't answer it.
The integrity investigations, we were supposed to leave this to the RCMP to actually give comment and disclose on such matters. According to the Assistant Deputy Minister, I feel we've answered, but that is out of respect for the RCMP.
Sorry,
even though,
sir, is the gentleman sitting next to you a serving assistant deputy minister in a government here?
He served under Prime Minister Harper, and he served under Prime Minister Martin. Associate Deputy Minister. Sorry, he's correcting here. Please feel free to contact the RCMP, and if you'd like, but I feel like we've given
at this time, are you prepared to provide in writing authorization for the RCMP to disclose to this committee whether or not an investigation is ongoing, or if they have initiated any contact with you or anyone with your organization with respect to the Canada Student Service Grant? Will you undertake to provide that authorization in writing?
I'm actually somewhat befuddled by this entire exchange. The letter went in, I think, last week. They haven't contacted us. That being said,
I'm not asking about Mr. Angus's letter. So what I'm asking for you is to undertake to provide to this committee in writing authorization to be forwarded to the RCMP that you authorize them to disclose if they have contacted you or anyone at your organization with respect to the Canada Student Service Grant. Yes or no?
For the person, we'll consult the RCMP on that very question, and we're happy to circle back as soon as the RCMP gives us direction on this. This is an apolitical body, the RCMP. We're just stuck in the middle between you and them.
Did you have any communications or conversations with anyone in government or in the Prime Minister's office prior to your appearance at the Parliamentary Committee in the summer?
No.
Now, at that committee meeting, you told them that none of your conversations with Minister Chagger were with respect to grants. Is that correct?
Oh, no. That's absolutely not correct. No. We spoke to nothing regarding the Canada Student Service Grant, but we spoke to Minister Chagger about the proposal that we had been talking about on youth unemployment. Absolutely brought that up with her.
And entrepreneurship.
And on youth entrepreneurship. Yes, youth social entrepreneurship is what it was titled.
Why was your lobbying notice modified with respect to the disclosure with respect to which staff were present at that meeting?
Because we did our best the first time we submitted it, and I think that we then learned that a mistake was made, and so we clarified the line item.
How many communications did the WE organization have with the government in April of 2020?
I don't have the number off the top of my head, but we submitted it to the FENAC committee, and we'll submit it to you again if you like.
Would it be accurate to say that the collective communications with the government were the equivalent to a significant part of the duties for one employee?
So would actually it'd be hard. That's right. The challenge that you are counting here is that you're counting 2 volunteers. And listen, I understand that Mr. Angus keeps saying it is literally not possible for us as volunteers to register. And so I understand the concern. If any member of Parliament wants to change the legislation, we put proactively everything out on the internet so people can see our engagement on this. So in the public, the ethics commissioner, the lobbying commissioner, any member of Parliament can see our engagement on this as volunteers, even though we were not captured under the official reporting requirements.
Last year, you laid off your government relations director and then immediately brought her back into your employ. What was the reason for that?
You're referring to the director of government relations and stakeholder engagement, just to clarify, because her was a small part of her time on government. The rest was foundations and corporate grants. And the reason that we did was we shifted her into a contracting role.
So, Ms. Marquez,
we'll turn to Mr.